Why can't you be the one that starts a company that turns into the next Google or Apple or Nike or whatever it may be?
And I'm a real believer that each and every one of us has something we're good at.
I love your passion. I love your knowledge.
I'm waiting for the butt.
Yeah, there's a butt coming. You've got a 24-second shot clock, $750,000.
I've never seen greed like that. That's unbelievable greed.
You broke up with your potential partner without even looking at him.
You're a savage. I'm just a lean, mean, shark machine, baby.
Ask yourself, why not me? Why can't I be the one who changes the world? Why can't I be the one that breaks out and makes something happen? When you come to that point where you have to make decisions and you're not sure and you don't know the next step, just ask yourself, just like I did, why not me? Why can't I be the one? I do this thing when I go to kids' school. I'll talk to them about entrepreneurship and setting goals and this and that. And I'll tell them, I say, look around. You see that screen on the wall there? One day it didn't exist, and then the next day somebody had an idea and created a company out of it, and now this school bought that screen. Why not you? Why can't you be the person that comes up with the next great idea? Why can't you be the one that starts a company that turns into the next Google or Apple or Nike or whatever it may be? Always be able to ask yourself, why not me? Why can't I be the one who changes the world?
That first step was always the hardest, right? And people are always like, oh, you're such a risk taker. I'm like, I hate risk, man. I'm terrified. And literally, it is terrifying, you know, taking that first step. For me, it was easier because I got fired, but, you know, it's about preparation. You know, we all go through this process, and tell me what you think, Chase. I mean, where you've got the idea, right? And you get that feeling in your stomach and you get all excited, oh my God, then you talk to a friend. And the friend goes, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. I never heard of anything like that. I'd buy that, right? And then you talk to some other people, and then you do the Google search, right?
Anybody else out there?
Is anybody else doing this? And you try 50 different ways. No one's out there. Well, the first thing I'll tell you is, just because you don't see it on Google doesn't mean 100 companies haven't gone out of business doing the same thing, right? It may not be out. There's a saying in basketball, you're open for a reason, which means you can't shoot, so they're not guarding you, right? It hasn't been done for a reason because every company who's tried it has gone out of business. So the one thing I would tell you is be careful. But once you get past that stage, then what I always tell people is, one, is it something you love to do? Right?
That's so true, because it's going to get hard.
Like, just if you're really hard.
It's going to get hard, and if you don't love what you're doing, then it's like that. When shit gets hard, that's when you're going to like, oh man, I'm going to fall in the towel.
Right, because you don't know, right, and you don't have a sense for it. And I'm a real believer that each and every one of us has something we're good at, right? Sure. And you've got to figure out, is this something you're good at? You know, I've always been good at selling. I found out I wasn't into computers when I was a kid. Then I found out when I started to teach myself how to code, it was like, oh, I like this, right? And I would sit there writing software, and I think, okay, I've been working 2 hours, I better get something to eat, and it's been 24 hours, you know? It's just like, what the fuck, you know? 24 hours, I mean, okay.
That tells you you're clued in. And it's not just what you care about, it's not just passion, because the circle's overlapping passion and aptitude, right? You want to be good at something. Just because you love basketball
doesn't mean I'm going to be any good at it, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you can have fun at it, but if you're trying to make a business, a life, a living, then you should.
Yeah, and I always say, don't follow your passion, follow your effort. Right? So you might think you're passionate about playing basketball, playing the guitar, drawing, design, whatever, but where you spend your time is your better indicator, because that's typically what you're good at. And nobody ever quits anything they're good at.
For sure.
You know, when you're good at something, you tend to want to get better.
You just have to try different things, and even if 99% of them fail, you only have to be right one time. You don't have to figure it all out in advance. You can be wrong, you could pick the wrong career, you can pick the wrong job, you can pick the wrong spouse, you can pick the wrong whatever. But you get it right one time, you're set. But if you don't try, and if you don't go out there and try all those different things, you'll never get that one time. And so it's not a question of, okay, how much different stuff do I do, or how many different things should you try? Try them all. Try them all until you find the one you like. And then it's like, it gets really easy, because even when shit fucks up, you're on a mission. You're loving what you do, you know, and then it gets easy. And so that's just the approach I've always tried to instill in people who work for me and myself. Hope that helps.
Do the work. Most people don't do the work. I got this idea. Then you talk to 10 friends. Oh, they love my idea. Oh, I don't know anybody. Do the work. they're very, unless you're starting another car business, you're going to make cars or manufacture something, even then, I mean, sweat equity goes so much further than anything else, but most people, they're not willing to do the work. Oh, that's a great idea. Let's go have a beer. It's a great idea. Let's go to the movie. Great idea. No, you're going to have to give something up to start a successful company. It just doesn't come to you. You've got to go get it. You've got to put in the time. You've got to put in the effort, and you've got to do the work. And I just think most people don't.
Okay. How do you figure that out with someone?
You fail. How do you figure out with someone else? You don't always. I mean, one of my Shark Tank companies, Toy Guru, they wouldn't do the work. They thought they were. They felt like they were. They weren't doing the work. I've got another company where they just do stupid stuff. You got to do the work, to do your homework, to understand what's smart and what's, you can't charge less for shipping than it costs you.
Right, exactly.
Someone's not going to just give you money to make it up, right?
Right.
You got to do the work to figure everything out. And, even when things are going well, you can't, like I have another shark, they're killing it. But I've got to keep on reminding them, you've got to watch everything and pay attention to the details, because things are going to slow down. And how you handle it when things slow down is going to determine whether or not you're successful long term. And you got to do the work. And I just think a lot of entrepreneurs, they get excited about the idea, they get excited about the dream. They tell themselves because they're passionate, that's all that matters. Passion is the biggest lie to every entrepreneur, because all of us are passionate about something. And just because you get passionate about something that you can start a business in, doesn't mean it's a good business. Don't follow your dreams, follow your effort. You'll find that the harder you work at something, the better you are. The better you are, the better chance you have of success. And it's not to say that you can't, work hard and get great at something you're passionate about, but so many people. I remember being passionate about baseball when I was a kid. I remember being passionate about basketball. It wasn't going to make me jump any higher or run any faster. And there's been lots of businesses where I thought, okay, this is a great idea. And then when it came time to do the work, it didn't match up with me, and I wasn't willing to do the work. Follow your efforts. Where do you put in your time? Where are you willing to work? Because you'll be shocked that that's probably your true passion. It's probably just not as cool or as hip or as dramatic or glamorous. And again, that goes back to entrepreneurs lie to themselves probably more than anybody. So do the work and see what happens.
Yeah, it's sometimes a double-edged sword, because when no one else is believing in you, you have to believe in yourself, but there comes a time too that you can't get.
Look, and the way to determine if you believe in yourself is, are you doing the work?
Yeah, there you go.
I believe in myself. I know I can do it. And it's great. The little train that could, right? But that little train got up the hill.
Exactly, right.
It wasn't just about saying I know I can. It was doing the work to get up that stupid hill. And you can tell yourself I know I can all day long. But if you're not willing to wake up sore because you were walking up that hill every day, you're not doing the work.
Powerful message.
It's powerful, but hopefully
it's powerful, and I think it's the simple things sometimes, right?
It really
we
is.
try to make sometimes success so complicated, and what you've done and what I love about what you've said is really the coolest thing is that that's something I don't have to rely on somebody else for. Right? It comes from within.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to try to control your own destiny. How can you control your own destiny? And if you can, and I tell it to my companies all the time, what's your core competency? How can you control your own destiny? Because the minute you lose control of that, you're dependent on somebody else. And look, that happens to every company at one point or another, but the less you can have it happen, the better off you're going to be.
When I first moved to Dallas, I was living 6 guys in a 3-bedroom apartment, slept on the floor. I mean, I tell the story all the time. I had one towel that I stole from a hotel that had holes in it. It was nasty. I mean, mustard and ketchup. I gained 30 pounds because we would go to a local pub and they would have fried mushrooms and everything if you just had one beer for $3, right? And so I would just pig out on fried mushrooms or fried whatever they had, and that's how I got started. I would come, there were times when I came home, the lights were turned off, I got my credit cards cut, you name it, right? I couldn't get financing for a car. There was a car on the roadway that I kind of liked, and it was obviously abandoned. I hunted down the bank that had done the financing for it and said, like, I think I found a car that you financed. Can I have it? And that's how I got a car. when I first moved to Dallas. And so when I remember waking up days going, oh my God, right, is this going to happen? You know, there were 6 of us living in a 3-bedroom apartment. One day, the way we would do it back then, we'd all write checks to one person who would then deposit it in their account and then write the landlord a check, because that would buy us time with the float, right, back then. So it would give us an extra couple days to get the money to deposit in our accounts. Guy named Dave O'Brien, Dobie, one day just took those checks. I have not seen him since. And it's like, what do you do? You know, and for whatever reason, I mean, I never got pissed. I never got, you know, upset. It was just like, you know, this is it, right? I just got to go. I just got to do. And I just got to keep on grinding. And that's always worked out for me. So even when things were the toughest, you know, my attitude has just been enjoy your life, smile, fight your way through it, and remember what you're good at. And I was good at tech, I was good at selling, I was good at working longer hours than everybody else, but I was even better at enjoying what I was doing. And so I just kept on reminding myself to enjoy. Even there was, you know, my first company, I said we did systems integration in local area networks. We hadn't been in business 2 years, and we had $84,000 in the bank. And we had a system we thought was right. You know, I went to college, I understood business, we had processes in place. And so we had a process where I would check all the payables, checks and everything, sign them, put them in an envelope, give them to our receptionist to go mail. Well, I got a call from the bank, $84,000 in the bank. Mark, someone was just coming through the drive-through of the bank, and all the checks had whiteout, remember the old whiteout thing? And she had written her name over top of the whiteout. I'm like, you didn't cash them, right? Oh yeah, why wouldn't we cash them? $82,000 of the $84,000 we had, gone. And it was like moments like that where you know, you could just get mad. And I was mad. And her name is Renee Hardy, in case she came over here to the UK and you run into her. R-E-N-E-E, Hardy. But it was like, what else are you going to do? You know, shit happens. And so you have to get back to work and you have to go after it and you have to make the best of it. And I think what I learned from all that was there's always going to be setbacks. There's always going to be things that go wrong. There's always going to be things you don't anticipate. Even when you have every I dotted, every T crossed, something's going to go wrong. And when it does, you just have to fight through it and grind through it and remember what it is that makes you special, what it is that gives you confidence to do what you do and do more of it. And so it's worked out.
What if I offered you $1.25 million to sell the whole company?
Mark, you're saying screw the other sharks.
Yep. I like what you guys are doing. I want you to come back to me with a percentage. I don't want you to even talk to these guys.
You're asking him to take that option with you right now and ignore us? You're not a very nice guy.
It's not about me being wonderful.
No, I have that title, thank you.
It's about making a business decision, right?
Hi, I'm Mark Cuban. I'm a bully. Look at me.
What's that about, Mark?
Like I said, guys, you got to pay to play.
There's tension in this room, I can feel it.
It's offensive.
You got a shot here, right? Don't let these guys drag you down.
Are you really interested in this?
I like the idea.
You really think cooking bacon bedside is a good idea?
I love your passion. I love your knowledge.
I'm waiting for the butt. Yeah, there's a butt coming.
You've got a 24-second shot clock, $750,000.
I've never seen greed like that. That's unbelievable greed.
You broke up with your potential partner without even looking at him.
You're a savage.
I'm just a lean, mean shark machine, baby. If I say yes to whatever your counter is, you have to tell me that you will say yes immediately and we have a deal.
$100,000. Wait a minute.
For 20% equity.
Done and done.
Crap.
Do you like that, Barbara?
I don't like it one bit. That was so damn smart.
No, but that's a compliment to you.
Barbara, I screwed you, but it's a compliment to you.
I feel really good about it.
This isn't the Rose Garden, it's the Shark Tank. And you know what? Sometimes you gotta take the bite and sometimes you're the chum. If you're gonna have and run a business, if you don't understand accounting, you're already behind the 8 ball.
Can't you hire a guy that knows how to
But
run
then
accounting?
they still have to communicate to you, right? I mean, there's people that don't understand the concept of, you know, the difference between profits and cash. You know, oh, your accountant might tell you you're profitable, but your cash is going down. You know, not understanding the breakdown. And when you don't
You think you need college to learn that?
Yeah, I think you do, right? Because it may not, for some people, look, if you're so self-motivated that you can take an online course in accounting and teach yourself everything, you're way ahead of the game anyways. But most people aren't. And I'm not saying you have to go to Indiana. I'm not saying go to an expensive school. I don't care if you go to a community college and take accounting and spend $99 for the class. Just, spending the money forces you to be more obligated to do it. But accounting, finance, lesser extent marketing, sales, if the school offers that, these are all that's the language of business. And so while it's possible to teach yourself these things, and while it's possible to hire them, when you're starting your own company, you don't want to have to spend money hiring an accountant, right? You're already probably going to have to hire a lawyer to set up your. Well, let me take that. If you've gone through all these classes, you probably don't have to hire a lawyer to incorporate, right? You can probably figure out yourself. And so your cost of opening up a business drops. But even more important than all that, that's the blocking and tackling. That's the language of business. The thing I learned at Indiana that was more important than anything else, I learned how to learn. And learning became far more important to me, because the one certainty in business is that it's always going to be changing. If you're not always learning, to this minute, if I'm not continuously learning, if I'm not just absorbing as much as I can absorb, someone else is going to kick my ass, right? So you talk about paranoia. The greatest source of your paranoia should be knowledge. If someone else knows more than you do, and if you're not learning, if you don't know how to learn, if you don't have a thirst for learning and acquiring information, you're SOL.
What makes it work is like everybody's got ideas, right? And most people just think, oh, it's my idea and I don't have this, right? The people that get it done, they don't look at the obstacles, they look at the opportunities. Instead of coming up and saying, oh, I wish I had a connection, wish I had money, wish I had this. Like this dude with the surfboard, man. He went out and found a used surfboard and he started putting it all together, and it was just his time. And then he took it, built one, figured it out, built another one. And then it's the same thing with some of the other, pretty much all the other companies where, rather than finding the excuses why they can't do it, they find the reasons to make it work. And then they just bust their ass and good things happen.
And the challenge today is because of low interest rates and other reasons, people don't trust the stock market. Even if, whatever you make, if you save your money, it doesn't do you all that much good.
Right. Definitely not at 1% right now.
Well, exactly right. And most people don't trust the stock markets, and I don't blame them. Yeah. So where are you going to put your money other than just in the bank, saving for a rainy day?
So what would you do? What do you recommend?
First thing you do is pay off your credit cards.
Okay.
Right. You always, because if you're paying 15, 17, 19%, that's a guaranteed return. Right. That's a guaranteed return. Yeah. Right. You're not going to get that much somewhere else. So that's number one. Number two, you want to save 6 months worth of income for a rainy day.
Yes.
Number three, you want to be a smart shopper. Believe it or not, the best return, if you're making $25,000, $50,000, $75,000 a year, and I realize that's a wide range, but the best return you're going to get on your money is being a smart shopper. Yeah. All the things that you buy all the time that you're going to use over you. I mean, look, I get on Amazon, I buy a year's worth of toothpaste. I buy a year's worth of razor blades. I buy a year, just because I like to prove a point, right? Right. I get my 50% off.
So you haven't lost, even though you're a billionaire, you haven't lost touch with reality.
Oh no, hell no, I can tell you, yeah, you don't want to, because I want to keep my kids to see that too. Right. I don't want them to be spoiled.
Shark Tank, I do the show not because they're great investments, but I do the show because it sends the message to kids 8 to 80 that the American dream is alive and well. You can watch the show and come to realize that somebody out of Iowa or, the middle of nowhere in Texas can start a company and, turn it into something special. And I think, so many families watch the show together that it's just, particularly in this day and age when so many people are saying what's wrong with this and what's wrong with that and what's wrong with America, it just really reinforces that, somebody with an idea who's willing to, go beyond just an idea to a company phase and really work, something special can happen. And just reinforcing that is really important to me.